Hare Krishna, dear devotees, welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, where the real nectar is, the real peace of mind, the real happiness. Right here in the live studios in Hythe, Kent, Southeast England, just within visual range of the English Channel. We're here today to continue with the reading of Srila Prabhupada's classic masterpiece, the summary study of the 10th canto of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Krishna's eternal pastimes, which are eternally going on in the material world and in the spiritual world. But before we do that, we're going to glorify the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the summum bonum of the Vedas, the ripened fruit, which is full of juice, ready to be relished by anyone, passing through the lips of Shukadeva Goswami, and now through Srila Prabhupada. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Mahima Stotram, Srila Sanatana Goswami's glorification of this wonderful Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha, Sarva Vedaika Satpala, Sarva Siddhanta Ratnaja, Sarva Lokaika Drik Prada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana, Śrīmad-Bhāgavata Prabho, Kalidvandoditaditya, Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya, Prema Varshakshadayate, Sarvada Sarvasevyaya, Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin, Madguro Man Mahadana, Mannishtadaga Madbhagya, Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu, sadhu tadayin, atini chochata kada, hanamun chakadachin mam, premna rit kantayos buddha. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, Nanda Maharaj, after Krishna was born and the birth ceremony was performed, he went to Mathura to pay his yearly taxes to the government of Kamsa. Chapter 6. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pūtanā, killed. While Nanda Maharaj was returning home, he considered Vasudeva's warning that there might be some disturbance in Gokula. Certainly the advice was friendly and not false. So Nanda thought, there is some truth in it. Therefore, out of fear, he took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is quite natural for a devotee in danger to think of Krishna, because he has no other shelter. When a child is in danger, he takes shelter of his mother or father. Similarly, a devotee is always under the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But when he specifically sees some danger, he remembers the Lord very rapidly. After consulting with his demoniac ministers, Kamsa instructed a witch named Pūtanā, who knew the black art of killing small children by ghastly, sinful methods, to kill all kinds of children in the cities, villages, and pasturing grounds. Such witches can play their black art only where there is no chanting or hearing of the holy name of Krishna. It is said that wherever the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done, even negligently, all bad elements, witches, ghosts, and dangerous calamities immediately disappear. And this is certainly true of the place where the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done seriously, especially in Vrindavan, when the Supreme Lord was personally present. Therefore, the doubts of Nanda Maharaj were certainly based on affection for Krishna. Actually, there was no danger from the activities of Pūtanā, despite her powers. Such witches are called Kechari, which means they can fly in the sky. This black art of witchcraft is still practiced by some women in the remote northwestern side of India. They can transfer themselves from one place to another on the branch of an uprooted tree. Pūtanā knew this witchcraft, and therefore she is described in the Bhagavatam as Kechari. Pūtanā entered the country of Gokula. Pūtanā entered the county of Gokula, the residential quarter of Nanda Maharaj, without permission. Dressing herself just like a beautiful woman, she entered the house of Mother Yashoda. She appeared very beautiful, with raised hips, nicely swollen breasts, earrings, and flowers in her hair. She looked especially beautiful on account of her thin waist. She was glancing at everyone with very attractive looks and smiling face, and all the residents of Vrindavan were captivated. The innocent cowherd women thought that she was the goddess of fortune, appearing in Vrindavan with a lotus flower in her hand. It seemed to them that she had personally come to see Krishna, who is her husband. Because of her exquisite beauty, no one checked her movement, and therefore she freely entered the house of Nanda Maharaj. Pūtanā, the killer of many, many children, found baby Krishna lying on a small bed, and she could at once perceive that the baby was hiding his unparalleled potencies, which resembled fire covered by ashes. Pūtanā thought, this child is so powerful that he can destroy the whole universe immediately. Pūtanā's understanding is very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is situated in everyone's heart. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that he gives one necessary intelligence, and he also causes one to forget. Pūtanā was immediately aware that the child whom she was observing in the house of Nanda Maharaj was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. He was lying there as a small baby, but that does not mean he was less powerful. The materialistic theory that God worship is anthropomorphic is not correct. No living being can become God by undergoing meditation or austerities. God is always God. Krishna as a baby is as complete as he is as a full-fledged youth. The Mayavad theory holds that the living entity was formerly God, but now has become overwhelmed by the influence of Maya. Therefore, Mayavadis say that presently he is not God, but when the influence of Maya is taken away, he will again become God. This theory cannot be applied to the minute living entities. The living entities are minute parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are minute particles or sparks of the original fire. So these sparks can be covered by the influence of Maya, but the original fire, Krishna, cannot. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even from the beginning of his appearance in the house of Vyāsadeva and Devaki. Krishna showed the nature of a small baby and closed his eyes as if to avoid the face of Pūtanā. This closing of the eyes is interpreted and studied in different ways by the devotees. Some say that Krishna closed his eyes because he did not like to see the face of Pūtanā, who had killed so many children and who would now come to kill him. Others say that Pūtanā hesitated to take the baby on her lap because something extraordinary was being dictated to her from within, and that in order to give her assurance, Krishna closed his eyes so that she would not be frightened. And yet others interpret in this way. Krishna appeared in order to kill the demons and give protection to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam. The first demon to be killed was a woman. According to Vedic rules, the killing of a woman, a brahmana, cows, or a child is strictly forbidden. Krishna was obliged to kill the demon Pūtanā, and because the killing of a woman is forbidden according to Vedic Shastra, he could not help but close his eyes. Another interpretation is that Krishna closed his eyes because he simply took Pūtanā to be his nurse. Pūtanā came to Krishna just to offer her breast for the Lord to suck. Krishna is so merciful that even though he knew Pūtanā was there to kill him, he took her as his nurse or mother. There are 7 kinds of mothers, according to Vedic injunction. The real mother, the wife of a teacher or spiritual master, the wife of a king, the wife of a brahmana, the cow, the nurse, and Mother Earth. Because Pūtanā came to take Krishna on her lap and offer her breast milk to be sucked by him, she was accepted by Krishna as one of his mothers. This is considered to be another reason he closed his eyes. He had to kill a nurse or mother. But his killing of his mother or nurse was no different from his love for his real mother or his foster mother, Yashoda. We further understand from Vedic information that Pūtanā was also treated as a mother and given the same facility as Yashoda. As Yashoda was given liberation from the material world, Pūtanā was also given liberation. When the baby Krishna closed his eyes, Pūtanā took him on her lap. She did not know that she was holding death personified. If a person mistakes a snake for a rope, he dies. Similarly, Pūtanā had killed so many babies before meeting Krishna, and she mistook him to be like them. But now she was accepting the snake that would kill her immediately. When Pūtanā was taking baby Krishna on her lap, both Yashoda and Rohini were present. But because she was so beautifully dressed and showed motherly affection toward Krishna, they did not forbid her. They could not understand that she was a sword within a decorated case. Pūtanā had smeared a very powerful poison on her breasts, and immediately after taking the baby on her lap, she pushed her breastly nipple within his mouth. She was hoping that as soon as he would suck her breast, he would die. But baby Krishna very quickly took the nipple in anger. He sucked the milk poison along with the life air of the demon. In other words, Krishna simultaneously sucked the milk from her breast and killed her by sucking out her life. Krishna is so merciful that because the demon Pūtanā came to offer her breast milk to him, he fulfilled her desire and accepted her activity as motherly. But to stop her from further nefarious activities, he immediately killed her. And because the demon was killed by Krishna, she got liberation. As Krishna pressed her breast extremely hard and sucked out her very breath, Pūtanā fell down on the ground, spread her arms and legs and cried, "Oh child, leave me, leave me." She was crying loudly and perspiring, and her whole body became wet. As she died screaming, there was a tremendous vibration on the earth and in the sky, on the upper and lower planets, and in all directions, and people thought that thunderbolts were falling. Thus, the nightmare of the Pūtanā witch was over, and she assumed her real feature as a great demon. She opened her fierce mouth and spread her arms and legs all over. She fell exactly as Vritrasura did when struck by the thunderbolt of Indra. The long hair on her head was scattered all over her body. Her fallen body extended up to 12 miles and smashed all the trees to pieces. And everyone was struck with wonder upon seeing this gigantic body. Her teeth appeared just like plows, and her nostrils appeared like mountain caves. Her breasts appeared like small hills, and her hair was a vast reddish bush. Her eye sockets appeared like blind wells, and her 2 thighs appeared like 2 banks of a river. Her 2 hands appeared like 2 strongly constructed bridges, and her abdomen seemed like a dried up lake. All the cowherd men and women became struck with awe and wonder upon seeing this, and the tumultuous sound of her falling shocked their brains and ears and made their hearts beat strongly. When the gopis saw little Krishna fearlessly playing on Pūtanā's lap, they very quickly came and picked him up. Mother Yashoda, Rohini, and other elder gopis immediately performed the auspicious rituals by taking the tail of a cow and circumambulating his body. The child was completely washed with the urine of a cow, and the dust created by the hooves of the cows was thrown all over his body. This was all just to save little Krishna from future inauspicious accidents. This incident gives us a clear indication of how important the cow is to the family, society, and to living beings in general. The transcendental body of Krishna did not require any protection, but to instruct us on the importance of the cow, the Lord was smeared all over with cow dung, washed with the urine of the cow, and sprinkled with the dust upraised by the walking of the cows. After this purificatory process, the gopis, headed by Mother Yashoda and Rohini, chanted the names of Vishnu to give Krishna's body full protection from all evil influences. They washed their hands and feet and sipped water 3 times, as is the custom before chanting mantra. They chanted as follows: My dear Krishna, may the Lord who is known as Aja protect your legs. May Lord Maniman protect your knees. May Lord Yagya protect your thighs. May Lord Achyuta protect your upper waist. May Lord Hayagriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Isha protect your chest. May Lord Surya protect your neck. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukrama protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhara protect your front. May Lord Gadadhar protect your back. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow in his hand, protect your right side. May Lord Ajana protect your left side. May Lord Urugaya, with his conch shell, protect you on all sides. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from above. May Lord Tarksha protect you on the ground. May Lord Haladar protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead, known as Rishikesha, protect all your senses. And may Lord Narayana protect your heart. May Lord Yogeshwar protect your mind. May Lord Prishnigarbha protect your intelligence. And may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul. While you are playing, may Lord Govinda protect you from all sides. And when you are sleeping, may Lord Madhava protect you from all danger. When you are walking, may the Lord of Vaikuntha protect you from falling down. When you are sitting, may Lord Narayana give you all protection. And while you are eating, may the Lord of all sacrifices give you all protection. Thus Mother Yashoda chanted different names of Vishnu to protect child Krishna's different bodily parts. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced that she should protect her child from different kinds of evil spirits and ghosts, namely Dakinis, Yatudanis, Kushmandas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and Vinayakas, along with witches like Kotara, Revati, Jesta, and Pūtanā, as well as the Matrikas, Unmadas, and similar other evil spirits who cause persons to forget their own existence and give trouble to the life heirs and the senses. Sometimes they appear in dreams and cause much perturbation. Sometimes they appear as old women and suck the blood of small children. But no such ghosts and evil spirits can remain where there is chanting of the holy name of God. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced of the Vedic injunctions about the importance of cows and the holy name of Vishnu. Therefore she took all shelter in the cows and the name of Vishnu just to protect her child Krishna. She recited all the holy names of Vishnu so that he may save so that he may save the child. Vedic culture has taken advantage of keeping cows and chanting the holy name of Vishnu since the beginning of history, and persons who are still following the Vedic ways, especially the householders, keep at least 12 cows and worship the deity of Lord Vishnu, who is installed in their house. Persons who are advancing in Krishna consciousness should take instructions from this pastime and also be very much interested in cows and the holy name of Vishnu. The elder gopis of Vrindavan were so absorbed in affection for Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. They could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead, playing as a child. After performing the formalities to protect the child, Mother Yashoda took Krishna to let him suck her breast. When the child was protected by Vishnu mantra, Mother Yashoda felt that he was safe. In the meantime, all the cowherd men who had gone to Mathura to pay tax returned home and were struck with wonder at seeing the gigantic dead body of Pūtanā. Nanda Maharaj recalled the prophecy of Vyāsadeva and considered him a great sage and mystic yogi. Otherwise, how could he have foretold an incident that happened during his absence from Vrindavan? After this, all the residents of Braja cut the gigantic body of Pūtanā into pieces and piled it up with wood for burning. When all the limbs of Pūtanā's body were burning, the smoke emanating from the fire created a good aroma of a guru. This aroma was due to her being killed by Krishna. This means that the demon Pūtanā was washed of all her sinful activities and attained a celestial body. Here is an example of how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all good. Pūtanā came to kill Krishna, but because he sucked her milk, he was immediately purified, and her dead body attained a transcendental quality. Her only business was to kill small children. She was only fond of blood. But in spite of being envious of Krishna, she attained salvation because she gave her milk to him to drink. So what can be said of those who are affectionate to Krishna in the relationship of mother, who with great love and affection always serve him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Supersoul of every living entity? It is concluded, therefore, that even a little energy expended in the service of the Lord gives one immense transcendental profit. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Swalpamap yasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is so sublime that even a little service rendered to Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly, gives one the greatest transcendental benefit. The system of worshipping Krishna by offering flowers from a tree is also beneficial for the living entity who is confined to the bodily existence of that tree. When flowers and fruits are offered to Krishna, the tree that bore them also receives much benefit. Indirectly. The archana process, or worshipping procedure, is therefore beneficial for everyone. Krishna is worshipable by great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and Pūtanā was so fortunate that the same Krishna played in her lap as a little child. The lotus feet of Krishna, which are worshipped by great sages and devotees, were placed on the body of Pūtanā. People worship Krishna and offer him food with great reverence and devotion, but automatically he sucked the milk from the body of Pūtanā. Devotees therefore pray that if simply by offering something as an enemy, Pūtanā got so much benefit, then who can measure the benefit of worshipping Krishna in love and affection? Therefore, only Krishna should be worshipped, for so much benefit awaits the worshipper. Although Pūtanā was an evil spirit, she gained elevation just like the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clear that the cows and the elder gopis who offered milk to Krishna were also elevated to the transcendental position. Krishna can offer anyone anything, from liberation to anything materially conceivable. Therefore, there cannot be any doubt of the salvation of Pūtanā, whose bodily milk was sucked by Krishna for such a long time. And how can there be any doubt about the salvation of the gopis, who were so fond of Krishna? Undoubtedly, all the gopis, cowherd boys, cows, and everyone else who served Krishna in Vrindavan with love and affection were liberated from the miserable condition of material existence. When all the inhabitants of Vrindavan smelled the good aroma from the smoke of the burning Pūtanā, they inquired from each other, "Where is this good fragrance coming from?" And while conversing, they came to understand that it was the fumes of the burning Pūtanā. They were very fond of Krishna, and as soon as they heard that the demon Pūtanā had been killed by Krishna, they offered blessings to the little child out of affection. After the burning of Pūtanā, Nanda Maharaj came home and immediately took up the child on his lap and began to smell his head. In this way he was quite satisfied that his little child was saved from this great calamity. Srila Shukadeva Goswami Srila Shukadeva Goswami has given a blessing to all persons who hear the narration of the killing of Pūtanā by Krishna. They will surely attain the favor of Govinda. Congratulations, everyone. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 6th chapter of Krishna, Pūtanā killed. Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Pūtanā, Jai Yashoda, Rohini, all the elder gopis, Jai Vasudeva, Nanda Maharaj. All glories to the killing of Pūtanā. The killing of Pūtanā represents, according to Bhaktivedanta Thakur, to be the exposing or the overcoming of false gurus. By hearing the pastime of the killing of Pūtanā, will be freed from the danger of accepting a false guru. And in this material world, there are plenty of them. Because the people in the Kali Yuga especially, and in material existence in general, they want to be cheated. Because they want material pleasure. They want material sense gratification. They think that that is the goal of existence, the goal of life. And therefore, as we see more and more in this age we're living in now, they'll do anything. Even at the expense of a plague, they won't take the medicine because they think it's restricting their freedom. And they're not free. None of them, none of us in the material world are free. We're all duty bound to go to the bathroom every day, eat something every day. It takes so much pain and pleasure to and sacrifice to maintain this body. So this is the purpose of existence, actually. To come to the point of being attracted to Krishna, attached to Krishna, and falling in love with Krishna. By hearing these charming pastimes, especially the childhood pastimes of Krishna. Whereas a little baby, barely just having to be held in the lap, killed this gigantic demon. So Krishna came to show the potency of the absolute truth. Whether he's a full-blown man, battling hundreds and thousands of soldiers at once, killing them all without getting his head touched, or a little baby, the same potency, the same power, and the same sweetness, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, we're at 7:56, which is almost 8 o'clock. So we were able to read one chapter of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam today. We'll stop here and ask for reflections, appreciations, discussion. Hare Krishna.
This is from Saloni Sachi Sundari.
Saloni Sachi Sundari. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Harinder Kumar. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Premavati Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Premavati Devidasi.
Dandavats pranams, dear Maharaj. Hare Krishna to
Hare
all the
Krishna.
devotees.
Haribo, Haribo.
Laura, Pauline, Gentile. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Chandrakant Rao. Haribo Maharaj.
Haribo.
Raja Lakshmi. Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Haribo Rajalakshmi.
Is from Chakradari. Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna Chakradari, my doctor.
Please accept my obeisances.
Jai, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
From Gopakanya Devidasi.
Hare Krishna Gopakanya.
Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, and all friends, all glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda and your daily reading service of Krishna Katha Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
From Braj Vallabha, Prabhu.
Hey Braja, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. I'm wondering if Lord Chaitanya does not appear to age beyond a certain age. As Krishna doesn't grow old, is the same true of the most merciful Lord Chaitanya?
Yes. He lived to be 48, but he looked like a fresh youth.
From Yadutama.
But he's different though, because he's acting as a devotee. He's Krishna, but he's acting as a devotee of himself. He's in the mood of Srimati Radharani. So sometimes his body would change drastically when he was in the ecstasy of feeling separation from Krishna, from feeling separation of himself. And sometimes his body would look like it was very elongated. Sometimes it would look very fat. Sometimes it would look very skinny. And then when he would come out of his trance, the body would immediately come back to its normal state. So although, yes, he looked like a fresh youth still, but his body would change, according to the need to exhibit all of the most extreme ecstatic symptoms that are capable of anyone to show, and more and more. You won't find some of the symptoms that he showed anywhere in Shastra. So it's true that he didn't age. He didn't look like a 50-year-old man when he was in Jagannath Puri exhibiting all these transcendental pastimes of ecstasies. But still, his body would sometimes transform into, a state in which he was barely recognizable. His legs and arms would go inside his body like a tortoise. One time he fell into the ocean. He thought that it was the Yamuna, and he got tossed and turned all night, and the currents took him to Konak, a temple that's quite some ways from Puri. The devotees, they were completely in anxiety, and they walked down to this place, and they saw a fisherman coming their way, and the fisherman was acting crazy. He was shouting, and he was shivering, and he was calling out names, and he was, they stopped him, and they said, "Don't go there, don't go there, there's a ghost, there's a ghost, there's a ghost." And the Srup Damodar, he understood, "Really? There was a ghost? What do you mean?" "I was fishing and I caught this corpse." And it's not a corpse, it's a ghost. And I touched it. And as soon as I touched it, I began to feel all these things in my body, and I started to chant, "Hari, Hari," and I've been cursed, I've been, I'm looking for an exorcist. And Srup Damodar said, "Don't worry, I am an exorcist, I'm very expert at this." And he slapped him. And then chanted a mantra in his ear. He said, "Now you see." And he was okay. So he said, "Now you're okay, don't worry. So you please show us this corpse." And he took them to where Lord Chaitanya was lying, and his skin was elongated, his joints had come apart, and his skin was, his whole body was very long. And man said, "You don't want to see this person. This person is..." He said, No, this is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." He said, "No, I've seen Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu." So even though it's a fact that Krishna would never appear like that, so it's different. But still, when he was in his normal state, he was extremely beautiful, like Radharani and Krishna together. Hare Krishna.
From Yadutamadas.
Yadutama, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada.
Jai, Śrīla Prabhupada.
Could you please describe to us how Pūtanā represents the false guru?
Yeah, because she was disguised. She was disguised. She looked like a very beautiful, cultured, affectionate, right? And sometimes Guru appears, they got a beard, or they look very wise, and they wear a certain cloth, and they do certain things, and yet they're like poison. The words that come out of their mouths don't elevate one to love of God. They make one wrongly attached to sense gratification. Because the purpose of those gurus is to take from the people money, women, fame, adoration. So pure devotees of the Lord, they see the difference between a real guru and a false guru, and they avoid the false gurus like the plague. But see, this was a very great mystic yogi. This was not an ordinary person. She could turn her form into a form that was so beautiful that anyone would be charmed. So the false guru knows the way to move the head and move the hands and say flowery words, and they appear to be like something wonderful. Hare Krishna. Therefore you have to know who is guru by hearing the words and by perceiving the effect that their words have on your consciousness and on your heart. Hare Krishna.
This is from Krishna Premavati Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Premavati Devidasi.
So kind of Srila Sukadeva Goswami to bless us for hearing. Yadu Tama Prabhu. It is especially sweet when you answer our questions before we can ask them. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Anandamoti Devidasi. Jai Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Bol Anandamurti.
All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Pūtanā was very fortunate to get liberation by killing Krishna directly. Krishna is so merciful.
Yes.
This is from Bhaktarupa Prabhu. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please
Hare Bol
accept
Bhaktarupa.
my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda.
Hare Bol.
I happened to start reading 10th Canto in my personal reading, the same time you started Krishna book. Coincidence? I'm getting to hear both versions in the same day. Hopefully I can keep up.
Oh yes.
I like a detailed Prabhupada elaborated on in the Bhagavatam version. He mentioned that Nanda Maharaj was a simple Vaishya, so he considered Vyāsadeva a great sage or mystic for predicting a calamity.
Yes.
Vyāsadeva was actually a Kshatriya, so he was able to predict the disturbances by watching Kamsa's movements.
Yes. Correct. That's why Krishna's pastimes are unlimited. And you notice that Prabhupada, in these different explanations of why Krishna closed his eyes, so many different, they came from different acharyas. So Prabhupada is weaving together, not all of the, you can't, Krishna's pastimes are unlimited. You know, you can't describe Krishna's pastimes completely. Many times in Shastra it describes how Anantashesh, who has thousands of mouths, is glorifying Krishna with all those mouths since time immemorial, and he cannot come to the end of it. Just trying to go out to the beach and try to count the waves. You know? Try to count the waves. You stay there forever. They go all the time. There's unlimited waves. You can't count them. So similarly, you can't count the qualities and the nectar of the pastimes of Krishna. But we enjoy hearing them. And just a drop of them is enough to give us the full nectar of life. Hare Krishna.
From Raj Lakshmi.
Yes, Raja
Raj
Lakshmi.
Yeah, Raj Lakshmi. Vrindavan mood is so special. They're praying for Krishna's protection. They have no interest in anything for themselves. No wonder Krishna is attracted to Rajavasis, just like a bumblebee to a flower. Jai, this is such a wonderful pastime. Please bless us that we always stay in the shelter of Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes, that is the conclusion. Thank you, Mom. And thanks for your message that you sent through Shyam Kishore. How much you like hearing me call you Mom. Hare Krishna.
This is from Vrajaloka.
Hare Krishna Vrajaloka.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you very much for tonight's reading. It was very encouraging to hear about how generous and merciful Krishna is and how he accepts even the most insignificant and conscious or coincidence service. He gives so much hope.
Yes. We have no reason not to be hopeful. We have no reason to be afraid if we take shelter of Krishna. Because wherever we're being Krishna conscious, there are no dangers that can actually harm us. Even if there are difficulties in the material world, they cannot harm us. They cannot harm the soul. And even we become liberated from difficulties that conditioned souls find. We get sick, we are in pain, but it's minimized to the point where we can still stay blissful and still relish being devotees of Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Sorry. Yadu Tama said, may all the demons in our heart be killed as we follow your readings.
Hare Krishna, so be it.
Okay, Sudevi Dasi. Sometimes I'm not able to watch you live, but I always hear it later on. My day is not complete unless I hear you read.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. That's why we put it on the YouTube, because it's so much easier to find on the YouTube than in Facebook. Facebook is so strange. You have to scroll back and back and back and back, but you can find things very, very quickly on the YouTube. And also the quality of the picture is better, and the sound is better on the YouTube, because Facebook's very complicated.
Rati Manjari said, nice to see 28 devotees live.
There should be 28,000. We'll begin to be happy when there's 28,000 live. But the truth is that to develop this kind of taste where you want to hear Krishna every day, and if you can't, if you don't, then you feel bad, that is a rarely achieved state of consciousness. That is rarely achieved. So you can't expect very many people to get attached like this. But the sound vibration travels around the earth 7 times, and it purifies the world. Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, the sound of Krishna's pastimes, the sound of Krishna's holy name. They're being vibrated all over the world. One time or another, they're being vibrated all over the world. That is Prabhupada's mystic power. These fools and rascals are looking for somebody to create some gold or do some magic trick. One time in Hyderabad, 1975, we went down from the Mayapur leg of the festival down to Hyderabad, where they were opening up the temple, or they were trying to, they're doing the temple, but he was speaking to big people and trying to get, it was just when he was going to get the land donated that became the farm in Hyderabad. And he had these big pandals, huge, tens of thousands of people were at this pandal. And then afterwards, and we were sitting, the Western devotees were sitting at Prabhupada's feet on this big stage. And they had it arranged so there was a microphone in front. And then people would write their questions and give them to one of the sannyasis, and he would read the question, and if it was interesting enough, he could go into the microphone and ask the question in front of everybody. So this one man got up and he said, Swamiji, can you show us a miracle? And Prabhupada just went like this. He went, this is my miracle. And he pointed to all of us. And everybody roared simultaneously. It was like a vibration that just made your hair stand on end. It was so ecstatic. So Prabhupada, when you looked at him, of course we saw him as a transcendental person. He was so, every movement was like fluid free-flowing, aristocratic, beyond the world. You know, his sound of his voice, everything was his face. Everyone said the same thing. They saw Prabhupada's face. They'd never seen a face like that before. Even you see him in a group of even other sadhus, his face would stand out. But he was, you know, in another sense, he kind of looked ordinary, but he didn't perform any miracles. He didn't act like he was going to perform miracles. He just gave this nectar to everyone. And therefore, no one else could do what Prabhupada did. Therefore, we treat him with the utmost respect and special place in our movement, in our hearts. No matter who's are our Diksha Gurus, we always keep Prabhupada close to us. And that's why his books should remain in the center of our movement, because he's the Founder-Ācārya. No one else could do that. Not to minimize anyone who is preaching Krishna consciousness. It is Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, the spreading of Krishna consciousness. It's an extension of Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. We are in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes when you're actually fully absorbed in trying to spread Krishna consciousness. But Prabhupada was different. World Acharya. Everyone accepted him. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone. Right on time, 8:16. We thank you all for your loyal attendance, and please spread this nectar, share it, appreciate it, whatever. Let's build the number of persons who come to hear every day. Of course, it's, you know, people are in different parts of the world, and many more people are watching. You know, in the views, you see the views, there's anywhere between 150 and all the way up to 1,000 views sometimes. But Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. We'll see you tomorrow night. Same time, same place, same topic. The summum bonum of spiritual life. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pure devotional service. Hearing and chanting the pastimes of Krishna in the company of like-minded devotees. See you tomorrow night. Hari Bol.